Welcome to the OpenCage tutorial for Geocoding Spreadsheets. In this video, we'll look at what is geocoding and what it's not, two main types of geocoding, reverse and forward, and the differences between them, how to use OpenCage to geocode spreadsheets, supported file types, formatting guidelines and limitations, and finally, we'll look at a comparison between geocoding spreadsheets and using the OpenCage API. Now, this video is focused on geocoding spreadsheets only. If you're interested in automated and higher volume geocoding, you should use the OpenCage API. Check out the OpenCage tutorial videos on using the API for forward and reverse geocoding. Let's begin by defining geocoding. So what is geocoding? Geocoding is the process of converting geographic coordinates, latitude and longitude, into a geographic reference, such as an address, place name, or locality, or vice versa. For example, here we have a pair of coordinates that represent a location in Germany. We can use geocoding when we want to know the address corresponding to those coordinates. Conversely, geocoding can also help us convert an address into the corresponding latitude and longitude. There are two types of geocoding: reverse geocoding and forward geocoding. Reverse geocoding is when you convert GPS coordinates into place names. Forward geocoding is when you convert place names into machine-readable coordinates. Here we see an example for each type of geocoding. One more important thing to highlight is what is not geocoding. Geocoding is not IP geolocation or geosearch. IP geolocation is for converting IP addresses to geographical locations. OpenCage cannot magically determine someone's location. You get that from a phone or GPS or a place name. Geosearch is also often confused with forward geocoding. Geosearch takes any string of text as input and tries to extract locations from that string, or to expand the string and return a list of possible location matches. For example, given the input of PAR, Geosearch might return Paris, France. OpenCage has many guides about geosearch and different types of geolocation, so please refer to them for more details. Now let's look at how you can use OpenCage to geocode spreadsheets. The OpenCage website has comprehensive documentation and various geocoding guides, including this spreadsheet and CSV upload geocoding tutorial. I highly recommend you take a few minutes to read through this tutorial. It will give you important information about formatting your input files, understanding file size limits, and what to expect when you upload a spreadsheet for geocoding. As the first step, you will need to sign up for an account. Signing up for an account is straightforward. You can sign up for a free trial using your email or Google or GitHub account. I'm going to sign up using my email and password. After signing up, you need to click on your confirmation email to confirm your email address. Once you confirm your account, you will be taken to the Geocoding Spreadsheets tab on your dashboard. You can always access this page from the dashboard by clicking on this Geocoding Spreadsheets tab link. There's a link to the tutorial here, which we looked at earlier. There's also a link to the formatting guide. This is the most important step, so make sure you read this guide to avoid the most common mistakes. There's also an FAQ which will answer any questions you might have. Okay, now let's go ahead and geocode our first spreadsheet. So let's click on this button, Start Geocoding a New File. And here the first step is to upload a spreadsheet. OpenCage supports a number of formats, including Excel, CSV, ODS, and text files. Here I'm on a free trial which allows 100 rows to be geocoded. The first file we'll geocode is a spreadsheet with some location coordinates from Germany. This Excel file has 100 latitude and longitude coordinate values. So let's click here and choose that XLSX file. Once the file is uploaded, OpenCage parses the file and shows a sample. Here we can see the first 3 rows of the Excel file. Note it says here, if we were able to parse the file correctly, then please continue. If not, then please read the formatting guide and correct the file before continuing. This is a really useful and important check, which makes sure you don't submit bad data for geocoding. Next, we have a few more questions and settings to help OpenCage read all the data correctly. Does the file start with a header row? Yes, the first row contains column titles. This is true for our file, so we'll leave it as yes. If we did not have column titles, we choose no. The next question is, how should we geocode your file? Our file has coordinates which we want to convert to addresses, so this option is correct, which is reverse geocoding. If your file has addresses, you choose the first option, that is forward geocoding. Next, which columns contain the coordinates? OpenCage tries to automatically match the right columns here. We only have 2 columns named latitude and longitude, so the match is perfect. But you can manually choose the exact columns you want to use. Which fields should we add to the file? So here we have a list of fields we can include in the output geocoded file. Here formatted will be the main output, the formatted address. OpenCage note is a useful field which can contain 2 types of values. If a row has successfully been geocoded, then it will contain the text OK. If, however, there was a problem or error geocoding the row, then this field contains a helpful note explaining why no result was found. There are many more optional fields you can choose to include in your output file. Here, let's check all of them so you can see what they look like. I won't include latitude and longitude again since we have those in the input already. You can also reorder the fields by dragging them around. Now note that not every location has data for all fields, and not all data available via the OpenCage API is available through the spreadsheet upload feature. Another thing you can choose is your output language. For example, we could choose German here, but let's stick to English for now. And once you're happy with all the settings, the next step is to generate a small sample of the geocoded data by clicking on Load Preview. This quickly geocodes just a few rows of our input data, so you can see what the final output would look like. Sanity check it to make sure it's how you expect it and has all the columns you want. If you're happy with the preview, then you can go ahead and geocode the whole file by clicking on Start Geocoding. Notice here OpenCage also shows an estimated completion time. We have a relatively small file, so it's less than a minute. For bigger files, it may take up to a few minutes. The great thing is that when you submit a file for geocoding, you don't have to wait around for it to finish. You can leave or close the browser window. OpenCage runs the process in the background and lets you know when the output file is ready to download. When you click Start Geocoding, you'll see a progress bar showing percentage completion. And now it's done. Here you can see I also received an email telling me the file has been geocoded. Your geocoded file is ready, so let's download it. And here's our geocoded file with 100 coordinates converted into addresses. Note that the output format is always a CSV file. You can then import that file into Excel, Google Sheets, or any other spreadsheet software. Now if we go back and return to the dashboard, we'll see in the Your Spreadsheets section the file we just converted. You can download the results again or delete the file. OpenCage stores files for 7 days for free trial users. For paying customers, files are stored for 90 days. After that, the files are deleted. So you should download your file once it is processed. Now let's geocode another spreadsheet. This time we'll do forward geocoding to convert a list of addresses into coordinates. Here I have a spreadsheet with 100 addresses from France. Note that this file has a single column with no header. So let's upload it. And we can see the preview. That looks right. Does the file start with a header row? No. How should we geocode your file? File contains addresses, that's right. Which columns contain the address? We only found one column, so we'll use that. Okay. Now, if you have multiple columns, say street, city, country, then you can map those. Are all addresses in the same country? Yes, they're all in France, so let's choose France from this drop-down menu. Now, this is really important to set because it improves the output quality. The better input we can provide to OpenCage, the more accurate the geocoded output will be. Which fields should we add to the file? Let's keep this one simple and stick to the defaults: latitude, longitude, and OpenCage note. Okay, let's preview the output. That looks fine, so let's go ahead and start geocoding the whole file. And when it's done, we can download it, and this is what it looks like. All the rows have been geocoded successfully. Now let's look at an example where some data can't be geocoded successfully. Here I have a modified version of the German coordinates file we looked at earlier. Note the 2 values highlighted in red. These are 2 rows with an invalid latitude and an invalid longitude value. So let's go ahead and upload this file. We'll keep all the default settings. then load preview. That looks okay, so let's start geocoding. And now if we look at the output file, we'll see the rows with invalid values don't have an address, but they do have a note. Longitude out of range, code 400, and latitude out of range, code 400. So this is a very useful feature that helps you understand why some of your data couldn't be geocoded. One common data mistake people make is putting postcodes in a spreadsheet, which then automatically treats postcodes as numbers. So here I have a list of US addresses, and this US postcode, which is supposed to be 03857, gets converted to just 3857 without the 0, and that is an incorrect postcode. So you want to make sure when you upload your file that it's been formatted correctly and there aren't any mistakes introduced by your spreadsheet software. Once again, the OpenCage note field comes in handy here if some data is corrupted and can't be geocoded. Now, as I've mentioned already, the free trial only allows you to geocode 100 rows at a time. If you upload a file with more than 100 rows of data, OpenCage will geocode only the first 100 rows of that file. Note that the free trial is for testing only. Please don't misuse it by uploading multiple small files to geocode a larger dataset. If you need to geocode more than 100 rows, you can sign up to one of our paid plans, which allow you to geocode up to 10,000 rows at a time. You can become a customer by going to the pricing page. OpenCage offers both one-time plans and subscriptions. You can pay in the currency of your choice. As a customer, you get many benefits, including higher row limits for geocoding spreadsheets, longer retention of files, priority support, and much more. Finally, remember that the spreadsheet upload tool is just a subset of what is possible via the OpenCage API. If you want to go deeper, the API is probably the right tool. I encourage you to watch the OpenCage API tutorial videos and visit the website to learn all about the API features and benefits. Good luck and happy geocoding.